Hi, David. How are
We are
you?
live.
We are
Good
live.
yourself. Thank you for the reminder. We are live in English for the PhD Dojo. I've had the pleasure of meeting some of your mentees
hmm
earlier this week. It was great, and yeah. So they started. Well, from what I understood, they didn't all start at the same time.
Actually, the people you met started at the same time.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah, they've started maybe in October. So last October, November.
Hmm.
So they are in the program for a few months now,
I see.
and I really like your topic about personal branding. It was very nice.
Hmm.
I think everybody like it. It's very different.
It is. Eh? Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad they do. I always wonder if they find it a weird angle, but they always seem to appreciate it. So it's good.
Yeah, and it's very nice with the topic we had before, which is about LinkedIn.
Okay. Oh, it does
Yeah,
make sense. Yeah.
how you know how to strategize your LinkedIn profile and your LinkedIn search. It was not with me; it was with Miranda Stan,
Okay.
who's another instructor. But that was very nice, and it comes with your topic anyway.
Excellent. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
we are a little bit off topic today,
yeah,
but it's fine. Today's topic is actually one that you know a lot about, and of course, I'm talking about entrepreneurship as a scientist, but in particular as someone who is doing their PhD.
yeah,
And it's something that I've taken part in some workshops related to that, given by the QC
QCSE.
SE program by V1 Studio, things like that. But I do believe that a lot of people out there doing their PhDs in grad school have no idea of what it takes, have no idea of the do's and don'ts. May not have had any courses or learning to do with intellectual property. So I think it's going to be very interesting today to be able to leverage your specific know-how on this subject
Yeah,
and to share some of what you've learned, some of the work you do, or anyway, some of the lessons learned that
yeah.
that you've had from your journey so far, and that you can share with the
Yeah.
listeners.
So first of all, I don't feel I'm not an entrepreneur. You know,
Hmm.
I'm teaching to entrepreneur. I'm supporting entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
but I'm not a scientific entrepreneur. Of course, I'm working with the second lab, but I'm still like, okay, I'm more like not an entrepreneur. But anyway, yes. So there's different people who would like to start a company from their PhD. It's very particular because usually you have technology entrepreneurship. You have people the first when they start they doing during the bachelor. Some people just started technology that coming out from the university or they are supported by university for developing a specific technology for a specific problem. But now we're talking about some people who's doing a PhD, they're doing a research, very cutting edge research, very deep. And from this research, they would like to start a company. It's
Yes.
it's a very difficult effort, and nobody knows where to start. You know,
Hmm.
so I found different kind of people during the graduate studies or PhD or even the postdoc where you have some people they find a project they would like to find a project, and some people found that their PhD can have a benefits. I mean, the results of their PhD can have a benefits for the society through uh, I mean a company that they
Hmm.
would like to start. And a lot of people are very undecided.
Hmm.
So um, I found some measurements like I don't know exactly the numbers, but it's maybe 20%. I saw some 40%. I think it's a rough number of people who's doing their PhD. They are interested about entrepreneurship, but very few really start
Hmm.
something. I don't know where it comes from, but I think there's misinformations. They are, of course, as PhD student, you are very deep in your PhD, so maybe you say like, well, I will do it later or
Hmm.
whatever. I don't know why you have this mismatch between the people who take actions or and people who would like to start
Have an
something.
interest. Hmm.
Mm.
I I would imagine that some of it has to do with being able to, with having role models around you. If
Mhm.
no one around you, you have this idea, you're like at the bench and you're like, I have this idea. Your lab mate is not doing anything entrepreneurial. Your PI is not doing anything entrepreneurial. The lab, no one around you does that. That must be one reason, is kind of solitude. No role models to emulate. That could be one.
Yeah, there's if you go in universities like Harvard or Stanford, where you have people like professors, they spin out 10 to 20 companies.
Wow.
So you have the opportunity to do that, and they know how to do it. Of course, we're not talking about professors who's doing startup company because they usually in I mean professors position in a startup company, they can start, I mean they can be a CEO or a CTO, but usually they are a scientific advisor. They can have a part of the company, so they can have actions into the company, like
Hmm.
right, a part of the company. But most of the time it's either the students who stay in the company as executive,
Okay.
um, more than the professor, because the professor is a professor, so they would like
To
them in at
continue
the
their
university
career.
to continue their career. I know some professors they stop their career to start their own company, but it's very risky when
Hmm.
you have a professor position to do it. It's, yeah, few of them are doing it, but you know not most of them.
So let's say you're someone very driven, like entrepreneurially, and actually you start your PhD, you even choose your PhD subject to be, like you said, something that's going to help the community. You have this kind of wish to create, or to work on something that will have tangible and kind of rapid effects on real life through through an
Mhm.
entrepreneurial project. What's your advice in terms of choosing a lab, choosing an institution to go to, if you already know that that's what you want to do?
Yeah, if you already know what you want to do, just check the labs and see where the people get out of the lab are going. If some of them are entrepreneurs, you are in a lab who knows the topic. Sometimes you can go into the lab where the professor is also a part of the company. Um, there's the mindset also about professors who are more entrepreneurs or have an entrepreneurship mindset. Uh, so choosing a lab, first of all, is there some company, are they aware about it at least,
Hmm.
or and that's one of the bases. The other basis is it a positive environment,
Hmm.
because we know that a lot of labs sometimes it's a little bit toxic, but is it at least a positive environment where the professor is able to let me free to start a company, because it's a lot of commitment.
Hmm.
And of course you would like to work in transparency with your professor, especially if you would like to do your PhD and then start a company with your research. There's a lot of transparency to have. if this is really what you want, just talk to your professors, and if they disagree, just it's not the right professor, it's just
Mm-hmm.
not the right lab, even if it's the best lab in the world. If they don't want to do it, and this is really what you do, just try to find a lab where you have a positive environment, people that can surround you to support this company growth, and making the research from the research to a company.
Another question again for the person who already has this idea.
Mhm.
Now, do most universities have like an innovation office or a kind
Yeah,
of an startup incubator? Is it something that you also should put on the scales when you're choosing the university you're going to?
yeah, and the first thing that I have to say is, starting a company, we always see like one or two entrepreneurs in the photo at the end, but of course it's a huge teamwork. So there's first, it's a teamwork of co-founders, but there's a lot of people around them. So at the university, first of all, do you have, if you would like to choose a new university, you have a center of for entrepreneurs, like a center of entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
um, Most of university has one. Is it a good one? You can check, you can visit it. And at the university you always have like, let's say, an office for sponsorship, liaison industry, a milieu, I mean a university industry, or university milieu.
Hmm.
um, or you always have this kind of office where they can support your IP process, and sometimes your entrepreneurship adventure.
Hmm.
So, and we hope that all these people work together. So the professors, the Center of Entrepreneurship, and the office for the IP.
Excellent. Now, a question that can arise in people's minds is because if you let's say I am working in my PhD is in something associated with mechanical devices
Yeah.
or with a industrial process, a chemical process. It's very the
Mhm.
link from that to an IP to a patent is quite straightforward. But have you seen projects like entrepreneurial projects come from social sciences
Yeah.
and from other domains?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have some people in art, or in social science, or any kind of faculty. They can start their company. It could be a consultancy company. Maybe it's not related to IP, but yeah, there's a lot to do with this.
Hmm.
So it could be a consultancy company. That's what I saw most of the time. um, it could be what I call, it could be a social technology,
Okay.
like I don't know, an app, or it could be something like, I'm working with the guy who's developed a software for augmented reality
Okay.
in the hospital.
Oh
Very
wow.
interesting, interesting project, very interesting topic.
Fully
And
applicable to to the
yeah,
community and yeah.
and there's, yeah, exactly. And there's, I mean, the lenses, I mean, the augmented reality device is already sell, uh,
By
in yeah,
in
you
the
can
market,
buy it
in the
in the
general
market.
market, yeah.
You can buy it, but the software is not, and this is where the software is in copyright. So this is what you see, like
Okay.
copyrights, know-how.
Excellent. So I was asking that because I'm imagining people watching or listening saying, "Oh, but no, this is for technology people. This is for sciences people." No, it's if it's for anyone who has an
Yeah,
idea
and you can and you
that could be
can
marketable.
and you can wondering if you would like to start a non-for-profit company, or a for-profit company. So
Hmm. Hmm.
it everything is possible. I mean, it really it's really about your mindset,
Hmm.
your values, and is it a good fit for the things that you would like to do?
Mm. Now, I mentioned V1 Studio at the beginning
Yeah,
of this conversation, and I would recommend that. So, if you have an idea, but you feel like I don't know the language, I don't know the culture of entrepreneurship, the QCSE program for people who are here in Montreal is a good one. Is there are other resources like that for people to just learn what business is about, what a business
yeah.
a business canvas. What's now the name is escaping.
Business model
Yeah,
canvas.
what a
This is
business
what it
model
would.
canvas is,
Yeah,
etc., etc. So, are there other resources? Is this also for you? Is this a key
I mean,
resource that you
there's
recommend?
there's a lot. Actually, there's more than enough sometimes. So actually it's really hard to know what is right for you, because you have a tons of organization who's doing it's in every cities. If you take the example of Montreal, you have a lot of I mean, each universities have their own center for entrepreneurship. They have incubators. Um, they have accelerators.
Okay.
And I mean, not university especially, but you have some accelerators. Um, V1 Studio is an entrepreneurship studio, so target is a little bit different, but it's also for learning how to start a company, but more than learning, doing the company into this kind of incubator.
Hmm.
So, do you know, David, the difference between a studio for company and an incubator?
I do not, and I would love you. I was going to ask exactly that. Studio, incubator, accelerator. Can
Yeah,
you popularize that for us?
yeah. So Center for Entrepreneurship. Sometimes it's related to incubator. That's pretty much the same. But Center for Entrepreneurship at the university, it's for university people who'd
Hmm.
like to start a company, and sometimes they have like what we call uh, I don't know, the waking up program. I don't know the term in English, but the wake up program in entrepreneurship, like where you
Éveil.
would like oui, programme d'éveil.
Um,
So actually, it's just like you start from the beginning. Where to start if you would
yeah.
like to start a company?
Okay. So
Um,
entrepreneurship 101. Like
yeah,
I would call it like
entrepreneurship
that.
101. So they have this kind of program, but more than this, so they can support you a little bit more. Um, Incubators, it's the next step. So you have incubators sometimes as very specific to the fields. So it could be technical at large, but it could be in health science, it could be in clean tech, it could be
Okay.
in so you have different kind of incubators. Accelerator is the next step, so where you would like to grow
Okay. So
faster.
you have a project that has been
It's
built,
not.
it's working, and now you need to grow it. Okay.
Yeah, you need to grow it. And a studio, it's a place where it's like a company factory. So
Okay.
you go into there, they give you a kind of salary, they take some equity from your company, and you grow the company with the salary with in 1, 2, or 3 years. There's another one named Tandem Lunch, which has the same kind of things, which is more in technology, like mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, AI.
Hmm.
But this is what they offer. So they give you the space, they give you the salary, and sometimes they give you the project, and
Okay.
they have already licensed the IP from a university or from somewhere else,
Okay.
and you can start your company from that. It's not for everyone. It's not for every kind of projects, but
Mm.
it's a model.
Okay. Now, yeah, go ahead. What were we going to say?
Yeah, for scientific entrepreneurship, it's it's a little bit particular, I guess.
Hmm.
I think um, because there's those two kind of model, the startup model and the spin-off model. I think the
Okay.
spin-off model is a little bit better, but at some point you have to start up. So it's yeah, it's pretty difficult because it's very difficult scientific entrepreneurship when you are in a lab, like scientific lab, as we know. It could be in health science or engineering, because the technology is very not mature.
Hmm.
So you have to maturate it in the lab first,
Okay.
and you don't know how long it will take.
So, what when you say mature, do you mean bringing it to a place where someone outside will be able to be interested and invest in it and buy it? Is that what mature
Yeah, the,
means?
the thing is yourself. You if you are the entrepreneur who would like to start up a company, you are
Hmm.
the one who would like to be interested about your own
Your own product.
your own product or your own research prototype. So what I mean mature, it's at least you have to demonstrate the minimum requirement, what we call a value proposition, the minimum requirement for your technology. If you say that your technology is have a better frequency or better shift frequency, or I don't know,
Hmm.
you have to demonstrate it. This is your first step, and then you mature it, you develop it as a product, and it could be long.
Okay. Okay. I see. Now, so where I was going to next is, so we're already talking about acceleration, etc., etc.
Yeah,
Now let's go back to Jane at her bench, who has this idea, and who's going to go to the V1. She's in Montreal. She's going to V1 Studio. She's going to do the QCSE program, and she starts. Uh, the first thing she thinks is, well, I have this much time to do my PhD. I really want to pursue this entrepreneurial idea. I don't know how it's going to affect my publishing, but also I don't know how it's going to affect my day to day and week to week schedule.
yeah,
What what do you have to share as in terms of advice around that? Because time is the thing we need to manage during our PhD. For all of us, for most of us, it's the resource that that there's scarcity of.
mhm,
How do I then make space for something that you are saying is quite can be quite complex and can
yeah.
require a lot of extra work?
So first of all, going to QCSE or V1 Studio is next step. The first step is protect your IP.
Okay.
So develop a project in the lab like you would do your research as usual. Then when you have something that is enough prepared, you can make an invention disclosure at your university. So you can ask to your we talked about the office of connection between industry and university. These people knows how to do it, they know the process. And um, and actually you will fill a form which is called invention disclosure. So you disclose to the university that you would like to protect something. Okay, and the university will send it to either themselves, they have an office who analyze this kind of proposal, or an organization like Axilis. This is it's usually what you do in the Quebec province.
Hmm.
um, and and they will analyze if it's worth to protect something.
Okay.
We talked about protection, but what is more interesting is what is the value behind your potential invention. So what kind of value? And when you do this kind of analysis, you would like that the people capture the value. If it's a patent, I mean, if it could be protected with a patent,
Okay.
that's one way to go. So
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 a device or
it could be a device, it could be
a
a
concept,
method,
a
it could be
method.
a process, it could be yeah, it's usually like that. So
System.
a system is a device plus a method.
Hmm.
So method process. So then you can protect your IP, and then you can publish. So the advice is don't publish, but more like have a publication strategy.
Okay.
So usually people in research, they think about their hypothesis, they're doing their experiments, they have results, they publish it.
Boom.
It's straightforward. Or
Mhm.
sometimes they go in a conference. Don't go right away in a conference. Sit down and think about, is it valuable what I'm doing? If it's valuable, and if you really think that is valuable, fill an invention disclosure. Let the people give the time to analyze it. Let the patent agent to make file a patent application,
Okay.
and then you can publish if it's the right strategy.
Okay. This means you need to have your PI on board.
Of course, that was the first question. Like
Yeah.
the yeah, UPI is the turning point of everything. Like
Hmm.
so, yeah, if you need UPI, yeah, you need UPI on board
Of course.
because
Of course.
this is the people who open the doors.
Do you have any other like more time management advice to share for someone who
Yeah,
wants to do something like this?
yeah. So it's really important to be when you go through this process. You have to be like, and if you would like to start your company, you have to take the time to do it because you cannot start a very a scientific company or you can go through you cannot go through the scientific entrepreneurship path without taking the time for your company.
Hmm.
So it's like growing up a baby. You need to take some time with your kids.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
It is a
it's
sort of baby. Yeah, I see.
so so take some hours to 1 or 2 days for that. It could be very demanding at some point of the company, but right in the beginning, if you do your PhD, you have to manage your time with this.
And what are key ways that people that you've dealt with have found to do this? Do you make your PhD longer, or is it really like you're saying, compartmentalizing your week and say, okay,
It's a
Monday,
it's,
Tuesday I work on the company, and then the rest
yeah.
of the week I work on the project.
I've I've seen many kind of ways. It really depends on where you are in the project. If you are in the beginning of the project, just focus on the lab work. Um, Sometimes you can take half a day, a week to do it. But I know a program named Lab to Market. It's another it's another kind of program. Lab to Market is an organization everywhere in Canada, and not everywhere in Canada, but in specific cities in Canada where they have the yeah, and their program is 4 months intense
Okay.
about growing up your company project
Okay.
from the beginning. So you focus for 4 months about your company project, and that's it.
Okay. You and
So
okay, so you take a break to just do that,
yeah,
and then you resume. Okay.
yeah, you take a break to just do that, and
Excellent.
at the end you can wondering if it's a good company project or not,
Hmm. Hmm.
because
Wow.
yeah, and this is what it takes.
Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah.
minimum. Minimum viable. What's the name?
Because yeah, you have different things. You have the momentum of starting a company project. So and you don't know if it will be a commercial success, because okay, the first rule there is, I would like to start a company because I would like to make a product or a service for clients.
Hmm.
Okay, so at the end you would like clients, solve a problem for people who would like to buy your product.
Hmm.
This is the
The
this
starting
is a
point.
yeah, this is a starting point. But if you find that you don't have clients, I mean, there's no potential for your companies.
Mm-hmm.
So so you have to pivot a little bit, finding where is your value there for your technology, or what. And sometimes you have to think about uh, what is the problem and finding a solution, and just forget the technology a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Can
it's
be
a lot.
complex.
It could be a complicated adventure.
Now, so here you're talking about. So this makes me think of one aspect, which is, if I say, okay, this look at this MBA program, you know, directly you expect, well, they have all the skills to become entrepreneurs. And here we're talking about PhD researchers who are in humanities, who are in life sciences, who are in hard sciences, whatever, and who don't have formal training in business. Is there some? And you seem to say that every year, you didn't say it like that, but there's always projects that are spinning off of labs of research. Uh, there aren't many, or
Actually, compared to the number of, of research project that exist, that could be a spin-off company. There's not
okay.
a there are few. um we saw
But
also
just a
yeah,
second. But you did mention that there are universities that are very strong departments that are making research into businesses. Did I hear wrong?
there are some.
So it's focused in
Yeah,
specific
if
places.
you think in the world, yes, you have some space like Boston area,
Okay.
uh where where I mean, the money is there. You have a lot of startup company who just fail sometimes and success
Mhm.
some other times. The sum of professors and labs are usually like starting up companies. But if you take the
Mm.
Quebec, very good in research, a little bit less good in innovation,
Okay.
let's say.
So there's a lot of
So
space. There's of growth to
there's a
have
lot of
and work
work
to
to
do.
do to to turn the wheel on the right side. And some, I mean, developing a technology into the lab, sometimes it's not for startups,
Mm.
and we have to accept it. So you can have a company that who can license your your
Technology.
technology, and that's another way to do it. But for startup company, you talked about the MBAs. Um, I really think that startup company is a teamwork. It's not a solopreneur who's going alone like a lone
Mhm.
wolf and doing the things alone. It I mean, maybe a long time ago it exists, but now it's a teamwork. So if you're a scientist, you're the scientist, and that's great, you know. But the business side could be completed with a partner who has this skill set
The other skill set. Okay.
and also this mindset
Hmm.
of knocking the doors, because being an entrepreneur is most of the time is selling your technology. Are you the one who will sell the technology, or are you the guy who developed the technology in the lab?
Mm.
You can be both, but they are very rare, you know.
Hmm.
So you can complete your team. It's a teamwork. You can complete the team with other people who has different kind of skill set.
Okay. And do these, innovation offices, etc., at universities somehow help people find teammates like this?
That would be awesome.
But no.
That would be awesome. Yeah, people work on it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's especially in Quebec, there's some work on that. It's always like being in contact with the people in the ecosystem. Just do not wait that these people are coming. Um, you can yourself go there and meet
Hmm.
people. Uh, go to network with people. There's some institution who has already a network, or some environment who has already a network, or some center for entrepreneurship who
Okay.
can do it, but there's no formal kind of program or way to do it. So yeah, and PhD students are not very good at network. They improve it. So yeah, it could be a little bit difficult.
A little challenge.
But if you go to Harvard again, or other, there are some like the innovation center is near the business school, and
Okay.
there's
And they do speed dating and things like that.
yeah. I'm seeing, for example, how it builds at Toronto. You have the Mars building. So
Okay.
you have the biological labs at some levels. You have the center for commercialization at some levels. You have the VC at the other levels, and
Okay.
everybody is in the same building, and some also big companies and startup companies. So it's creating this kind of space, are very exciting, but it's not always possible in everywhere.
Mm. Now I've seen that in France last year. I don't know if it's a yearly thing.
Mhm.
Last year, there was a bank, one of those big banks. Now that I don't remember, that was
It's
promoting this
BPI,
BPI, I
BP.
believe.
Yeah.
They had this program promoting deep tech, what they call deep tech projects. Uh, you know, are there here in Quebec too um, campaigns to promote innovation, to help this this uh, step from research to innovation to
Yes.
grow? Because, like you said, apparently there's a lot of space to fill still.
Yeah, but it's not. There's a lot of things as well. I mean, uh, we can look in France. It's pretty new.
Mhm,
Here,
yeah,
it's there's some stuff. So in terms of financing, NSERC has a great program named I2I.
okay,
Um, you Axilis has a program named PSO. So this is money for growing up a product from the research, developing a product from the research. You have other program from FRQ. Um, so this is the program that we call maturation, but you have also the collaborative research program, which is a bit different, which is a company who would like to have something from a lab, like a service or technology from a lab, and they develop it into the lab. And this is other kind of programs. But you there are money, and there's program for that.
mm. So and I guess these are all things that these are all things that we can firstly share in the show notes of the episode. These programs, these entities. But I imagine that if you go to the innovation office of your university, they will have a list of these things, or because I imagine the ecosystem is not so large, and it must be well known
Yeah,
in.
in Quebec particularly, there's a lot of organizations, and the people at the university knows them. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Um, Now, so let's say you're at middle end of your PhD, you have protected your IP, um, you feel that there's something there. You've done some training and accrued some skills yourself. So you imagine someone has done all the right things. Um, But then one of the unknowns, at least when I think about this question, is okay, you've done all of this, but you're in the lab, you're in the academic milieu.
Hmm.
How do you navigate, and do you have examples or stories to tell about then, you finish your PhD, you graduate, and now
You
you transition
now.
to
Yeah.
having just this baby which has now grown. So how does that go? Are there also um is there also help, or are there also programs out there to help people transitioning from academia to entrepreneurship completely?
Yeah. So yes, you have some. It's very difficult. Uh, I will not lie.
Hmm.
It's very
Hmm.
difficult just um, because you have to find your own salary at some point. So V1 doing this, we talked about V1. V1 is doing this kind of transition. You
Hmm.
have other stuff like my tax have some cool program. I'm thinking about Futurepreneur. This is very
I've
Quebec
seen this.
things,
I've seen this.
but I can believe that other province in Canada have these similar programs. You can be in an incubator sometimes, and they have a little bit of money, but it's very few. So when you are at some point, are you? So this is when you start in the beginning and you plan it a little bit, and you finish your PhD. That would be nice to have a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Maybe so some you have some organization, you have VCs. But are you ready for VCs? Is your company is for
A
VCs?
good
That's
candidate.
another questions. But yeah, VCs helps. You have some VCs that are very near the university or
Hmm.
integrated into the university, and they can help um, to grow the company. But you have to prove that your technology is great for a company,
Hmm.
or you have to validate your market, and show that you may have client at some point,
Hmm.
and VC can support you. um yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
it's
VC, for those who don't know, it's venture capitalists.
yeah.
Um, I have heard that, for example, I had a guest, and she said that she was part of this group of women entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
and that one of the things that in this group happened was that people in there that were venture capitalists would, you could pitch to them, and so maybe there are other communities like that,
Hmm.
maybe domain specific, or anyway, with some kind of niche that your project is in, that could help you at least get in touch with possible possible venture people who could bring money into your project. But
Hmm.
again, that's kind of a long shot too. I imagine it's not a given for
Yeah,
everyone. Like,
and again, if you are well supported by like your center of entrepreneurship or your incubator, if you're well supported by your incubator, you know the ecosystem, you know how the thing works. I mean, there are people who will support you and can show you
hmm.
the right doors to go, because there are multiple. So it could be very difficult to know where to go, but if you are well supported,
Mm.
that's a very good thing.
And so one thing that because now we're kind of at the end of this whole
Hmm.
life cycle, and there's one thing that you mentioned en passant, in passing, and that I think is important, which is, do you know if you're going to have clients? And because your idea could be a bad idea, and what advice do you have for young researchers who wake up one day, have think this might be a good idea, to help them do the right things in terms of market research and
Yeah,
preparing the field that on that side of things.
talk to people who knows more than you the market.
I can't agree more. Conversations with people who know more
Yeah,
are the best.
yeah. It's not in publication that is written. No, it's not
Hmm.
written in the publications
Of
because
course.
you can spend like days of reading publications, but talk to people. That's the better way to do it.
I agree.
And there's strategies like I mean there's a like business development way to do things, but talk to people simply
Mhm.
like yeah,
I have a follow-up question. So okay, talk to people is the solution. I need to imagine that it's me. I need to protect my IP. Let's
yeah,
say uh, like the person you said, I'm working on this new device or system. Let's say system for the medical domain, but I can't disclose it. But how do you get the answers you want while still protecting your IP? So because I know what I'm getting
I
is the
know
first
what you
thing
mean,
is,
like
you know what I mean, right? But
yeah, the
you need to
confidentiality.
the confidentiality, but you need to be a little bit brave of going to talk to people, because that's the key, to talk to a bunch of people. But how do you navigate those
Okay,
conversations? What
okay,
are the right types of questions to ask to be sure to make sure you have good data to work on after?
okay. So yeah, that's a good question. So what we call a validation, market validation. So you have to think that you are surrounded by people. So the university there is there. You have the technology transfer office is there. The incubator is there. You can have a coach, uh, and they will advise how to do it. Um, First of all, you cannot sign NDA with everybody because imagine that you have to make a market validation.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
impossible to sign an NDA, and actually some people don't like it,
Of course.
especially in this kind of way. So there's you can present the technology to these people, not the secret sauce, but what would be the results
Hmm.
that the technology can provide.
So
So
problem,
what
black box, result.
Yeah. If I'm the client and I'm spending 15 minutes or 20 minutes with somebody, what's there for me?
Perfect. Hmm.
What's there for me? If if I'm buying your technology, I'm spending maybe thousands of dollars. Why should I do
What am
that?
I gaining? What are
Yeah.
my patients gaining? What is
Yeah.
my organization gaining with this?
So this is what we call the value proposition. So what's there for the client? What I'm gaining, but not how you do it.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
S-
And and now I'm getting a little practical, but I think people like practical advice, and I'm maybe putting you on the spot, but let's see your answer. If let's say I have this
It's
thing, I I have this solution problem. I know what I want to offer, and I'm gonna go, and I know now I have to do these 20, 30 calls to people. Do I go with a set list of questions, or do I go with a few open-ended questions and try to get data?
it's
Uh,
an interview. It's an
mhm,
interview. So you have to prepare a little bit your interview. What
mhm,
what do you want to know from these people? Do you really know these people? These people as a LinkedIn profile? Who are you talking about to?
mhm,
What are you
mhm,
talking to? What would be their problems? So what kind of technology they dream of? So there's some question that you can figure out or you can confirm with them, and sometimes they can give you some stuff that you've never imagined.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you think about, and usually what happens when you do this thing is, well, what I thought is not a reality.
Mm-hmm.
So so this is completely different about what the people need. Is it
And
answer
this,
to the question? Yeah,
yeah, it
maybe,
doesn't
maybe.
it
Yeah,
does answer my question. But now you're talking about validation.
yeah,
So because I'm still thinking of the graduate researcher and
yeah,
who has an idea. Um, and I think this that we just mentioned can be used actually at a certain stage of
yeah,
advancement of your project. But at
yeah.
the beginning, do you do the same? So you just you say, "Hey, I'm in the second year of my PhD. I'm doing this project. Is it okay to? Do you need to feel awkward going to people, let's say doctors or other people in the industry to say, hey, this is my PhD project. I can't give you a lot of details, but I think it might be is it, should I feel comfortable going and
Well,
talking with
yeah,
people like this?
I don't think you have to do it right in the beginning,
Mm,
except if you want just connect with people, or that could be nice to connect. It's always nice to connect with people, but presenting technology that doesn't exist, even even at the bench, it's okay to present the technology that will exist,
mm,
but be careful because you need some a little bit of proof. Like it,
okay.
there's things that you can do in times. Of course, the earlier is the better, but is it the right time to contact the people? Sometimes, if you're too early, it's always a problem. It could be also a problem of. I mean, do you have really proved your value proposition? Is it the right value proposition? Do you really think about it?
Hmm.
So in the process, it's good to start with that, but you know, there's a good time for doing that. So I
Hmm.
really think that you do your research, you protect your IP, and then you go there.
Okay. Okay.
It's I think this is the right way to do it.
All right. Good.
Um, yeah.
I was going to
Uh,
ask, is there something we didn't cover? Because we went from the very beginning to kind of the very end of the process. Of course, we didn't go to you get bought by someone else. That's out of the scope of this conversation. But
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can create a company as a vector for finding money, you know.
hmm.
So that's another way you can do it. In pharma, that's very common because in pharma you have a very few money, and
Hmm.
you need a lot of money to grow your product.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, there's different way to do it. So this is I think we cover a lot,
We covered a
but
lot, eh?
yeah, yeah. um, yeah, this is you had very good questions. So where to start? What should I say? Um,
Hmm.
but there's a path to go through. There's not thousands of ways of making a company. But yeah, you would like to know first if you have a good idea,
Hmm.
and the the earlier you know that you have a bad idea, the better
The
it is
better.
because other you will not lose your time,
Exactly.
and the
Awesome.
time of the people. Yeah.
Gad, like you said, I think we covered a lot of good terrain. If you're watching the replay, or if you're watching now,
Mhm.
but if you're listening and this elicited some questions to you, you can write us. Gad, can you share how the best way to reach out to you?
Yes, for sure. You can write me on LinkedIn. That's the best way to reach
Mhm.
me out.
So Gad Sabbatier, PhD. And same thing for me, or you can write to david at papaphd.com. I think this is very interesting. I thought there was more. Maybe because I'm surrounded with people who are involved somehow in part of this, including you, Gad. I thought the the academia, labs here were more prolific in terms of innovation. But if they're not yet, I know, because you hear it even in the news, that it's a priority to get to
Mhm.
make well, and we're talking of Quebec because where we are, but to make Quebec more innovative. So I think it's I think growth is going to come. Money funding is also probably going to come. And so if you do have ideas that can change people's lives, it's the moment to start doing it.
Mhm.
And again, I'll share all these resources that Gad mentioned I'll put links in the show notes, so you can go explore them and see at what stage you are and which one you need right now to get your project going.
Yeah, thank you, David. It was really nice to talk about it. But
Cheers.
yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
didn't have your point of view, but that would take another hour, I guess.
Well, and the thing is, you for really in this conversation today, you're really the expert. I really wanted more to play the role of the person who's asking themselves questions, and
Yeah.
who could get some of your know-how. One of the things we didn't talk about is just accruing new skills that you can use. The second lab is one of such places where you can get skills that can be leveraged to your entrepreneurial endeavors. Can you share where people can find the second lab?
Yeah, thesecondlab.com, or we have a LinkedIn page, which
Page 2.
is, yeah.
Sounds good. Well, Gad, if you don't have anything else to add, let's wait for people's questions. I'd love
Yeah.
to see what they have to ask, and that would be it. If you liked this, go to follow us here on LinkedIn, follow Papa PhD, follow the Second Lab. You can go to YouTube also if that's where you prefer, and if you are on YouTube right now, follow Papa PhD. um, if you're a regular listener, or if you're regularly in the audience, I'd really love to get to know you better. And I have a survey running. It's You can find it at papaphd.com/audience, where you'll have some answers to give to some questions about you. What types of podcasts you listen to, etc., etc. And it's really to get to know you better, and to be able to offer content that's more and more adapted to your desire. So if you can go to papaphd.com/audience, it would be very appreciated. And then that would be it. You can also support the show at papaphd.com/donate, or just go to the to papaphd.com and look at the support page. There's different ways there to support me in doing this show. So, Gad, thank you so much
Thank you very
for
much, David.
this PhD Dojo, and looking forward to the next one.
Hmm.
All
Great.
right, bye
See you.
everyone. See you around.